6 of the most valuable lessons I've learned from being a full-time real estate investor for 6 years. And hopefully these are lessons that you can actually take action on and not just go, wow, that sounds good. Lesson number 1, action is king. What I mean by this is that if you're wanting to accomplish something in real estate investing, you have to take action on it. When you're first getting started, action is educating yourself, attending a seminar, action is reading a book. Those are great action steps. But one of the most valuable things is once you take that information, you got to grab that information, stick it inside of your brain,
I know Kung Fu.
and then you actually have to go out and apply it. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that you read Skip the Flip 2, which is where I teach you, here's the in-depth nitty-gritty of how to analyze real estate deals, because you can learn how to do something, that is action, but you have to actually go more than just learn, you have to apply. I'm sure there's people out there who know way more about real estate than me, but have done nowhere near as many deals as I've done, or the volume of deals that I've done. If you want to learn, that's great. Just make sure when you're learning, you're writing down, here's what I'm gonna do with this, right? And a lot of people in real estate, especially beginners, set goals like, hey, I wanna achieve a $10,000 a month cash flow, right? That's gonna get me to financial freedom. But what I would rather you do as a beginner is to set action goals. So instead of saying, hey, I wanna make $10,000 a month, set yourself a goal. I wanna make 3 offers a day for an entire year. That'd be 1,000 offers. Guarantee you, if you did that, you're gonna find so many deals that would get you to the right result in just 1 year. Number 2, it's less complicated than you think it is. When you're first getting into real estate, there's hundreds of terms, these acronyms, COC, IRR, LTV, surveys, appraisals, environmentals, phase 1s, GC. There's so many different acronyms, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed by how much insider language there is being a real estate investor. But one of the most important things to know is it's really not that hard, right? At the end of the day, here's the game plan. We got to go buy something that will produce income, and we want to buy it for less than it's worth, and we want to make sure we don't get ourselves in a bad financing spot. I mean, we don't want to get bad debt that's due in the short term where, you know, a down cycle could ruin us. We don't want to buy deals that don't cash flow. It's really easy. It's not complicated. Make sure you talk to professionals, and you're going to have a good property at the end of the day, meaning, you know, there's no problems. There's no drainage issues or roof issues or electrical issues or zoning issues or anything like that. Talk to professionals. Pay a price where it cash flows, and be willing to hold on to that property. Like, it's not that complicated. If you think about this, you go, oh, I don't know, I get so overwhelmed by, you know, the amount of construction that has to be done, or I get so overwhelmed by what's gonna happen if the tenants do this or if the tenants do that. Just kind of think to yourself like, hey, there's people out there that I know that are construction workers, and I'm not trying to dig on anybody, but there's people out there who are not nearly as smart as me that are out there doing it and having great success in doing it. And that's what you need to remind yourself of. You're here, you're motivated, you want to get this done. Don't make things more complicated than they are. You have the ability to figure everything out. And that's one thing at every single stage as I look back on my career. At first I was like, oh my gosh, how would buying a rental house work, right? And then I bought a rental house. I was like, wait a second, that's way easier than I thought it was. That was all I had to do, right? And it was very overwhelming in the beginning, but after you get on the other side of that hurdle, so to say, you're like, wow, this is easy. I can do this many, many times over. For me, it was a development deal. And man, I don't know about this. I got to do building permits and talk to people at the city and the county, and I got to get a general contractor, an engineer. I don't know, man. All this is really scary, and I got to go look. I got to go look dumb again in front of these people, right? I have to be somebody who has to ask people, what do you mean by that? What does that mean? And one thing that I think has really helped me make progress is I'm never afraid whenever somebody says something, whether they say it like this is just the most common term on the earth, just going, hey,
what is that?
What does that mean? Why is that important, right? I still to this day ask my attorneys as we're talking about things in contracts, they'll say, I don't know, Hayden, about, you know, Article 4.23 here, A. Let's go, hey, why is that important? Why do we need to discuss this? What are the implications of that? And so the point is that people like to make things seem really complicated, but at the end of the day, when you ask somebody to break it down, you go, okay, that's easy, I understand. And then you just learn that lesson. And so don't let the fear of something that seems really complicated prevent you from doing it, because at the end of the day, it's not that complicated. And there are people out there who are not as smart as you doing it with great success and making a lot of money. The third lesson that I have for you is that people want to help you. Even competitors of yours are people who want to help you and want to see you have success. See, a lot of people when they're first getting started are afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to ask for help because they say, well, I'm just going to be annoying this person. This person is going to look at me as a competitor and tell me to F off. And, they're not going to like me, and then they're going to tell me no. And at the end of the day, you're afraid of being told no. But a lot of my progress and growth has come from finding people who are not just like a couple steps ahead of me, that are like so far ahead of me, and just like trying to find some way to provide value to them. But a lot of times I'm just pouring into me and helping me. And that's because people want to help you. Like last year, I went and got to spend a day with a billionaire, a guy who's 70 years old, had been investing in self-storage since he was 25, had amassed $1 billion net worth, and he spent like 4 or 5 hours with me, just teaching me, helping me. And so the point is that people who are ahead of you like to help people come up because they see that there's so much opportunity out there that if they help you, it's not going to hurt them. And so one of the big lessons now is anytime I see somebody who's ahead of me, I'm never afraid to reach out. Hey, Steve. Wow, what a career you've had, man. Hey, I'm in this position in my career trying to get to here. I just love it, if we could connect. Sometimes people say no, sometimes you don't get a response. Oftentimes you get people say, yeah, I'd love to help out. Is there anything in particular I can help you out with? If you're active, if you're doing the first two things, right? If you're not making it complicated and you're taking actions, you'll have questions for those people that they'll be happy to answer because they've incurred in their same growth phases. Fourth lesson that I've learned is it comes in waves, AKA when it rains, it pours. And what do I mean by that? Well, real estate is a very cyclical, not like the prices are high, the prices are low. I'm talking about energy and efforts. So if you're working on a deal, like what I found when I'm working on a deal, the time period of when I'm trying to negotiate and get that deal under contract, I'm spending all of my time and all of my energy on just that. Talking to my attorneys, talking to people who are going to do diligence for me, talking to my bankers, talking to the seller, talking to my team, talking to contractors, and it just amasses all of my time. I get it under contract, and then it's just, maybe like 1 or 2 days of ordering reports, putting together presentations, and then it's just like crickets, right? It's just like absolutely silent for like a month and a half until it's time to close the deal. And then it's just the same thing. It's just absolutely crazy where people are, I need this, I need that, I need this. We're behind on this. We should have gotten already this. And it's not like bad planning. It's just how real estate deals go. Of getting deals under contract and then closing deals is when it's absolutely crazy. And then right after you close a deal, that's also when it's crazy. So that's just kind of what I've found to be a lesson for me, because I've always felt like, God, I'm so overwhelmed right now. And then like, what am I supposed to be doing? And what I've learned is just that it comes in cycles. When it rains, it pours. Be prepared, if you are a real estate investor, for that to be how your work life and career is. And also one thing that I've let my, fiance Bella know is this is a busy week for me. I'm getting a deal under contract, or I'm closing a deal, right? I'm going to be less available than I normally am. And then after that, I'm going to be really available. So I think it's important, right? Because if you're somebody who is real estate investing to bring financial freedom to your family, if you have business partners, if you have, another job, right? Or another business that you're in, you have to let your people know it's pouring right now, right? It's raining, it's pouring, I'm busy, I'm gonna be really focused on this, and then I can dedicate more time whenever it slows down. Lesson number 5, everything is more expensive and takes way longer to get done than you can ever imagine. So if you're trying to renovate deals, if you're trying to build deals, just know, man, everything is more expensive. There's just so many components that goes into it. And again, don't make it more complicated than it has to be, but this is why we have contingencies. This is how we have to set our expectations and be realistic in our projections. You're always gonna dig a ditch and hit a pipe that you didn't expect and have to repair it, and they don't have the parts you need to fix it, so you can't get your project done. It's just bound and guaranteed to always happen in that format. A general rule of thumb for me, if I say, hey, I think this is gonna cost $100,000, I'll budget $150,000. If I say, hey, this will take 3 months, this is gonna take 6 months. That's just a lesson I've learned. And if it underwrites under those criteria, if I say, hey, this is gonna cost $100,000 and take 3 months, I'm gonna analyze the deal as if it's gonna take $150,000 and take 6 months. If I'm still good with it, then I'll do the deal. And my final lesson The greatest asset that you can have as a real estate investor is building a solid team. Now, who makes up your team? A banker you can call anytime. You know they'll take your call. You know they're going to go to bat for you at their bank. An attorney who you know has your back, is sharp, who's not going to charge you an arm and a leg, and who's just a good guy that you get along with, right? You don't want to dread talking to your attorney. Contractors. If you can find a great contractor and you work within one market, a great contractor will do you right. Property managers. If you have great property managers you can trust to do their job and run your properties as efficiently as possible, then that's just such a great team player. A great team can make a mediocre deal an amazing deal, and a bad team can make an amazing deal a mediocre deal. So just remember that. How can I go about strategically investing time to build a team that I can trust, right? A lot of that comes from referrals of asking other real estate investors, hey, who's your banker? What bank do you use? Are they giving you good terms? How do you like working with them? Hey, what attorneys, right? And it's just trial and error. And so you have to think of people like, I know especially when you're beginning the journey, you're like, oh man, I just want an attorney to help me out. But you almost need to think of every interaction with somebody, whether it's an attorney, a banker, a general contractor, whomever, a property manager. You always have to kind of think about that like a job interview. If you walk away dissatisfied, that's probably not somebody you want on your team long term, right? You want people you're excited when they call you to answer them, talk to the people. You know they push results-driven people, just people that you would want to work with for a long time. Think about, would I want this person to work for me full time? Do they produce results? Are they a good person? Because if you have a team you can rely on, you're going to have a competitive edge in the marketplace that other investors don't. Because a lot of other investors don't have teams they could rely on, so they're hesitant to do deals. They're slower to make offers because they got to talk to an attorney who they don't get along with and won't help them out, or their banker is going to tell them it's a 5% interest rate and it ends up being a 7% interest rate, and they just don't have people on their team that they can truly trust. Drop in the comments below what you learned. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody else who needs it. In the meantime, be great. I'll see you next week.